In this video, we'll be discussing the different files and folders that make up an Android project in Android Studio. Come to Android Studio with a new project open. The first thing you'll see when you create a new Android project in Android Studio is the project structure. Let's take a closer look. Come to Project View in Android Studio. The project view in Android Studio is divided into two main sections, the project pane and the editor pane. Zoom in on project pane. In the project pane, you'll see several folders and files. Let's go over each one of them. Come to App folder. The App folder is the heart of your Android project. It contains all the code and resources necessary to build your app. Come to Manifest file. The manifest file is a special file that describes your app to the Android system. It contains information such as the app's name, icon, activities, permissions, and more. You can find the manifest file in the App folder under the SRC folder. Come to Java folder. The Java folder contains all the Java code for your app. This is where you'll write the code for your activities, services, and other components. You can find the Java folder in the App folder under the SRC folder. Come to Res folder. The Res folder contains all the resources for your app, such as layouts, images, strings, and other assets. You can find the Res folder in the App folder under the SRC folder. Come to Gradle files. The Gradle files are used to build your app and manage its dependencies. You'll typically see two Gradle files in your project: build, Gradle, and settings, Gradle. The build, Gradle file is located in the App folder, and it's where you can configure your project's build settings, such as the SDK version, dependencies, and more. The settings, Gradle file is located in the root folder of your project, and it's used to define the modules that make up your project. Come to Other folders. There are several other folders in the project pane, such as the Gradle scripts folder, which contains additional Gradle files, and the External Libraries folder, which contains all the external libraries used in your app. Come to Build folder. The Build folder is where Android Studio stores the output of your build process. This includes your app's APK file, as well as other intermediate build files. You can find the Build folder in the root folder of your project. Come to Idea folder. The Idea folder contains the configuration files for your project. These files are used by Android Studio to remember your project settings, such as your run configurations and debug settings. You can find the Idea folder in the root folder of your project. Come to gitignore file. The gitignore file is a special file used by Git to ignore certain files and folders in your project when you commit changes. You can find the gitignore file in the root folder of your project. Cut back to Android Studio. Now let's take a look at the editor pane. Zoom in on editor pane. The editor pane is where you'll write your code and design your app's user interface. It contains several tabs, such as the Design tab, which lets you create your app's layouts visually, and the Code tab, which lets you write code. Come back to Android phone with app running. And that's it. Now you know the basic structure of an Android project. With this knowledge, you can start building your own apps and exploring the Android platform. And that's it for our video on the project structure of an Android Studio project. We hope this video has helped you understand the different files and folders that make up an Android project and how they fit together. Remember, understanding the project structure is an important first step in building an Android app. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on Android development.